Which support hero you should pick in a game of Overwatch is heavily influenced by which tank your team is running. For each tank hero, I'm going to give their best main and off healer synergies. Your main healers are classically Ana, Baptiste, Kiriko, and Moira, and will be outlined in yellow throughout the video. And your off healers are classically Brig, Lifeweaver, Lucio, Mercy, and Zenyatta, and will be outlined in orange in the top left. Let's get started with DOOMFIST. His best main healer synergy comes with Kiriko. Kiriko has super consistent healing at long ranges and can keep up with the Doom's positioning using her teleport. Whilst DOOMFIST will often do his own thing, Kiriko possesses the ability to use her cooldowns to save DOOMFIST if he ever gets himself in serious trouble without his cooldowns. As for off healer, not many of them really have a great synergy with DOOMFIST. DOOMFIST generally isn't a tank that executes a lot of team dependent plays, so I'd say it's probably just best to go with Mercy and pocket the DPS heroes instead. Moving on to D.Va, her best main healer synergy is with Ana. D.Va's massive health pool means that she takes quite a bit of damage on the battlefield, and requires a support hero with an insane healing output, and that's where Ana comes in. D.Va also likes to do her own thing a lot of the time, being able to select dive targets and assassinate them fairly quickly with her high damage output. Ana is able to sustain the D.Va during a lot of these dives with her long range, making her a great main healer synergy. The off healer I've chosen to pair D.Va with is Zen, and this is for two reasons. Most of the off healer options aren't very effective with D.Va, but D.Va is actually the most effective hero in the game when it comes to peeling and protecting Zenyatta. With Zen being able to stay alive, his Discord Orb has a higher uptime, allowing him to have a very large impact on the match. Junker Queen's favourite main healer synergy is with Baptiste. Junker Queen compositions like to play grouped up to enable her brawl playstyle and receive maximum value from her commanding shout. This grouped up playstyle is perfect for Baptiste, who offers the highest AoE healing in the game. Junker Queen also has a relatively small hitbox for a tank, so Bat being an AoE healer also helps him to synergize with the Queen. For her best off healer synergy, I'm gonna go with a rogue shout, Lifeweaver. Whilst Junker Queen can speed boost herself to engage fights, she still has no way of reaching a lot of high grounds without taking long extended routes, and that's where Lifeweaver comes in, being able to petal her and the team up to contest high grounds. His Life Grip pull ability can also be used to reposition the Queen should she need saving from a fight where she doesn't have commanding shout available. Lucio is also a good option for Junker Queen compositions, as he synergizes super well with Baptiste, being able to speed the grouped up Junker Queen comp into battle. Next, let's talk about ORISA. As a brawl tank, her favoured main healer is Baptiste. Her playstyle ultimately relies on grouping up as a team and running down targets, so Baptiste AoE healing comes in handy here. ORISA is the ultimate anti-tank hero, and Baptiste can actually provide her assistance on this mission with his super consistent damage output, dealing a ton of damage with his triple burst fire onto the hard to miss tank heroes. On the same thought of shooting tanks, ORISA's best off healer synergy comes with Zenyatta. With the ORISA looking to counter the enemy's tank, Zen's Discord Orb provides great value when applied to the enemy tank, allowing ORISA to melt through them. Up next is RAMATTRA. He has a few super strong options when it comes to choosing a main healer, but I'm gonna settle with Ana. Being able to provide nano boost to RAMATTRA's ultimate is an almost guaranteed fight win in itself, especially in overtime situations where enemies have to touch the point. Ana also acts as RAMATTRA's greatest counter when on the enemy team. Both her anti-nade and her sleep dart are great counters to RAMATTRA's nemesis form, and for this reason, Kiriko and her Suzu cleanse come in a close second for helping out RAMATTRA as a main healer. As for an off-healer synergy, I'm going rogue and saying Lifeweaver. RAMATTRA has great space-taking tools, with his Omnic Shield and Nemesis passive speed boost, so having a Lifeweaver to lift him onto high grounds and pull him back when his Nemesis form runs out should be a great synergy. Alternatively to Lifeweaver, the classic RAMATTRA off-healer synergy comes with Lucio and his speed boost, but I do feel like these RAMATTRA comps really give Lifeweaver time to shine. On to everyone's favourite old German, REINHARDT. Being the ultimate brawl hero, Rein loves to pair up with Baptiste as his main healer of choice. REINHARDT generally requires a lot of resources, so Bap's insane AoE healing output comes in handy in this composition. Rein also has a great synergy when it comes to Baptiste's ultimate. Throwing a fire strike through this bad boy allows it to one-shot any hero with 200 HP or less. REINHARDT's best off healer is Lucio, bringing back into fashion the classic Bap-Lucio combo. Rein's overwhelming weakness in the game of Overwatch is his general lack of ability to engage targets within his hammer range. Lucio's speed boost is a great way to mitigate this weakness, turning Rein into a hammer swinging machine. ROADHOG is kind of a weird tank when it comes to support synergies. He doesn't really require too many resources from his team, but let's talk about main healer synergies anyway, and why Kiriko is the best pairing for him. Hog's biggest weakness is his vulnerability when facing Ana. Both her Sleep Dart and Anti-Nade act as ways to stop Hog recovering with his breather, so Kiriko's Suzu actually helps Hog out a bunch. When it comes to off healers, I think Zenyatta is probably Hog's best pairing. Whilst Hog may be weak in the meta right now, in theory his biggest weakness is fighting other tanks. Zenyatta's Discord Orb acts as a great way to counter most tanks, allowing Hog to focus on doing what he does best. Moving on to the king of poke himself, Sigma. Even though Sigma isn't played in Brawl style compositions, his best main healer synergy still comes with Baptiste. This is because poke comps also like to play grouped up, typically on harder to reach high grounds, allowing Bap to utilize his crazy AoE healing. As for an off healer, Sigma's poke playstyle synergizes super well with Zenyatta. Zen having no fall off damage on his orbs also allows him to sit and poke out teams from afar. Sigma is also pretty weak when it comes to fighting tanks, so having Zen's Discord Orb to minimize the impact of the enemy tank works out super well for Sigma. Winston may be one of the most resource dependent tanks in Overwatch, so it's important to get his main healer choice right when playing with him. Both Kiriko and Ana offer great support options for Winston, but I think Ana narrowly takes it over Kiriko here. This is mainly due to her nano boost being a great synergy with Winston's Tesla cannon, but also because her healing output is slightly better than Kiriko's, and Winston depends heavily on this to commit to dives. For his best off healer, I've gone with another rogue shout in Brig. This is mainly because when a Winston dives, the Ana in this composition is super vulnerable. Having a Brig in this comp to protect the Ana serves Winston super well. Even if you choose to run a more mobile main healer like Kiriko, having Brig in this comp still isn't an awful idea, as Winston prefers to conduct dives with a more grouped up team, allowing Brig's healing to have a much larger impact with everyone being grouped up. Now onto one of the least resource dependent tanks in Overwatch, Wrecking Ball. Ball doesn't really depend on his team that much, but I think Ana is probably the best main healer you could run with Ball. His erratic movement makes him generally hard to sustain with a lot of the support heroes, but taking up a good position on Ana will allow you to heal him just fine for the most part, but he can generally sustain himself through a combination of health packs and his regenerative health. The same story goes for off healers, as they generally won't interact too much with the Ball. For this reason, I'd probably just recommend running Mercy and pocketing a DPS hero instead of worrying about the Ball. Let's talk about Zarya next as we go back to the Brawl style of tank. Since she does fit into this Brawl category, naturally her best main healer synergy comes with Baptiste. Zarya is great against a lot of the other tank heroes, so not only does Bap provide very high AoE sustain for Zarya and her grouped up Brawl comp, but he also provides great damage output to assist the Zarya in taking out the enemy tank. Another hero that synergizes well with Zarya and also helps deal with tanks is her best off healer in Zenyatta. Once more, Discord Orb provides great utility against the enemy tank, allowing Zarya to run through them and win you fights almost by herself. If you have any questions on any part of today's video, feel free to ask them in my Discord through the link in the description, and if you wanted to learn more about the importance of understanding main and off healers, you can check out my recent guide video on screen now.